take it away.
Thanks, Matt. Chris, thanks for hosting us. Appreciate it. Let me introduce David Epps, our COO and Vice President of Marketing in the back there. You've met Matt Garvey, our VP of Communications, and they're part of the team that I believe is the best in the bowl business, and look forward to hosting you and the Georgia Bulldogs, the team, the administration, the staff, Kirby, Josh, their families. We really believe in Southern hospitality, and for us, it's going to be kind of interesting because in 2020 we really didn't get a chance to host Georgia like we wanted to with COVID. So let me also, I don't see Claude here, but want to say hello to Claude. Claude is someone that I go all the way back to 1980 when Herschel was playing here, and I was with Adidas, and he helped me with a credential for the Heisman Trophy. So I want to see Claude and tell him hello. Let me thank everybody here for coming. You guys, I know you got a lot to do and probably here to see Kirby, but we got a little business before. If I can talk a little bit about, the bowl and how excited we are to host number 1, Georgia, and number 4, Ohio State. This is the 3rd time we've hosted the CFP semifinal, and every one of those years in 16, 19, and now 22, we've hosted the number 1 team in the country. So we are really excited to host the SEC champs and number 1 Georgia Bulldogs. Congratulate Josh on record sellout in one day of 13,000 tickets. I don't know that that's ever been done before for a bowl game. So I know he needs probably about 15,000 more like I do. But we have added 2,000 more seats beyond the expandable seats to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, standing room only wise. So we're going to be close to, if not break our record that we hold for the 2019 number 1 LSU against number 4 Oklahoma CFP semifinal game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Congrats to Kirby and Josh, the Bulldog team, the administration staff, for just a tremendous year. To be number 1, and I know it's somewhat taken lightly around here because the success, but to be number 1 after finishing number 1 in the country, and Kirby would tell you, probably has numerous times, they're not defending national champions. This is a whole different team. And so to see 15 guys go to the NFL and bring a whole new team together to be number 1 again is, it's an incredible accomplishment. Hadn't been done very often, and probably won't be done too many times in the future either. So great credit to Kirby, and congratulations on winning the SEC Coach of the Year as well. Kirby is special to us individually. Not only is he a great guy and a great person, but Kirby is the only player, a little trivia for you guys, you can win some beers on this. Kirby's the only guy that's played in our game, won our game as a player, won the Chick-fil-A kickoff game in his first game coaching here at Georgia against North Carolina, and also won 2020, won the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl as a coach. So now all he has to do is win our Peach Bowl Challenge golf tournament, which he's finished 2nd or 3rd, I think, a couple times. Is that right? Yeah. So he's got a little work to do on the golf game, I guess, but I'm sure he'll figure that out as well. History-wise, this is special for us with the Peach Bowl. I started this job back in 1998, and we had, as I mentioned, Kirby and Georgia play against Virginia. Georgia was ranked number 19 in the AP, and Virginia was number 13. And the AJC wrote that the Peach Bowl is Georgia is going to a 3rd-tier bowl game. So we've come a long way in these many years to host now number 1 Georgia in the CFP semifinal game. So quite an accomplishment by our board, our staff, which is the best in the business, our volunteers, and all the corporate support and our stakeholders that we have in Atlanta. Champ Bailey, who was the MVP of that game, interesting enough, another history, is going into the National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame this year. And he'll be the Georgia honorary captain, which is great history. And obviously Vince Dooley, who was our great friend, was the AD then, who we celebrated his 90th birthday on the field at the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. So the other thing is Mark Rick will be going into the Peach Bowl Hall of Fame this year. So we'll be hosting not only the Champ Bailey, but the rest of the National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Famers at our game this year, as well as the Dodd Coaches of the Year will be hosted at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So a lot of activities going on. Let me tell you a little bit about our game. Obviously, to have number 1 against number 4, with Georgia playing in its second consecutive semifinal game. This is only the second meeting between these two teams. They played in 1993 in the Citrus Bowl. So kind of interesting to have two huge brands, probably two of the best 5, if not best 2 top 10 teams in the history of college football playing in our game this year in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Talk about players, having 2 of the 4 Heisman Trophy finalists, and I think the last count was about 10 All-Americans playing in our game is really special for us. And I've always said styles make fights, and so when you're talking about the nation's second best scoring offense against the second best scoring defense in the country in Georgia, and you're talking about the 13th scoring defense in Ohio State against the 11th ranked scoring offense in Georgia, that makes for a great game on New Year's Eve, December 31st at 8 o'clock in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We've got game day coming, the SEC Network, Big Ten Network, everybody will be there for the game. 2020-21, if it's anything like that, going down to a last kick, most of our games, 53% of our games have been decided by a touchdown or less in our 55-year history. We've sold out 22 of the last 24 games, thanks to the great fan support we have in Atlanta, which a lot of media call us the capital of college football. That's one of the reasons. Just great fans, the College Football Hall of Fame, the SEC Championship, obviously the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We're the 4th largest convention town in the United States in Atlanta, Georgia, behind Las Vegas, Chicago, and Orlando. And to have 4 of the top 6 conventions in Atlanta, that's how big college football, economic impact-wise, means to the city, especially coming out of COVID. Our payout will be $6 million. So nice check for Josh, particularly since you just have to take Uber over, and we'll save a lot of money in expenses. And then talking about the bowl game, you know, we were founded in 1968, the 9th oldest bowl game in the country, and we were founded by the Lions Lighthouse to give back to charity. Unlike some of the other bowls, the Rose, Sugar, Orange, Cotton, a lot of those bowls were created for tourism, which we do. We'll provide probably about $100 million of economic impact this year between our 2 kickoff games and our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But we were founded to give back, and we do so humbly. It's our mission, and we've given $60 million back to charity and foundation since 2002, which is more than any other bowl organization in the country. And we'll give $6 million this year to charity, which is a lot more than any other bowl game in the country. We're also proud to announce that we'll donate $100,000 to endow a scholarship at the University of Georgia, which we already have endowed one, but this will be one that will be a part of our John Lewis Legacy of Courage Scholarship, which those scholarship monies go to kids from Title I programs, schools that are underprivileged kids that don't have the money to go to college. This year alone, we've given $293,000 out through those endowed scholarships, which are at 34 universities throughout the country. Ohio State will be a new one that we'll add. And so that $100,000 will go into the existing endowed scholarship program. With that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to, and hopefully he accepts, offer a letter of invitation to Josh Brooks to play in the 55th Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which is the CFP semifinal game. So Josh, I hope you'll accept this invitation.
I do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. First of all, I want to thank Gary. I don't think many people know this, that when we had the game scheduled with Oregon, the neutral site kickoff, and we knew it was Coach Shuli's birthday, reached out to Gary and said, hey, I've got an idea. We'd really like to celebrate Coach's birthday and do some things. And he took the ball and ran with it and really did a first-class job of celebrating Coach. And I know that meant a lot to his family, so I just want to thank you for that. That was very special to him and them. This game is really special to me. A little more trivia. This was my first bowl game as a student 22 years ago, and it was my first bowl game as an AD 2 years ago. So this bowl game is really special, obviously in our own state, in Mercedes-Benz, and this Gary and his staff, all of them, do a phenomenal job. Hospitality, it matches up with the Chick-fil-A model and how they operate, and we're so grateful of you and everyone and how you treat us. And I know that we didn't get the full experience in 2020, so I know that our student athletes, our staff, our families will be really excited to get to experience this bowl game. It's one of the best in the way you treat and take care of everyone. So I know it's going to be a great experience and obviously a great game. And we could have used some more tickets. We'll take as many as we can get, but obviously it's a testament to our fan base, how well they support our program, and just excited to kick things off. And now I'll turn it over to Coach Smart.
Thanks, Josh and Gary. Appreciate it. Happy and fired up to have an opportunity to play in what I've always thought is one of the best bowls in the country, because Atlanta is home to so much of college football, especially when you've been part of the SEC. So it makes for an awesome opportunity. Our players are excited for the opportunity to play in a CFP semifinal against an opponent that we all have immense respect for. You know, Ohio State is one of the premier teams in the country. Coach Day's done a fabulous job with his team in terms of recruiting across the country, putting out NFL talent, and playing in the CFP over recent history. So challenge lays in front of us, and our guys are excited to do it, but we're honored to be in this game. I know a lot about the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and have for a long time, and like Gary mentioned, having played in it, coached in it, and been around it, it's pretty special when you get an opportunity to play in it in your own state.
A short video.
Yep.
Congratulations on an incredible season and welcome to the college football playoff semifinal of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Above all else, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is a reward for your semifinal appearance and a golden opportunity that has you one win away from playing for a national championship. Our bowl week is designed with you in mind. It's meant to create memorable experiences and give you a chance to live, laugh, and learn while in Atlanta. This year, the road to the national championship comes through the ATL, and you've got a lot to look forward to. Your bowl week experience starts with a traditional Christmas meal at your team hotel. After dinner, you receive some incredible gifts and enjoy the holidays. At the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, we are all about competition. So to kick things off, we'll have a little fun with our Battle for Bowl Week. The Battle for Bowl Week will pit players from each team against each other in a series of competitions at several of the Bowl Week events. Daily battles will all lead to one team taking home the coveted battle for Bowl Week championship belt. The first Battle for Bowl Week event starts with an experience you can only have in Atlanta. A private visit to the College Football Hall of Fame where you'll get a great meal and enjoy a tour of the facility, taking in all the interactive elements that dive deep into the heritage and tradition of college football. At the hall, you'll have your first two competitions, which include our famous football feud game show and the second contest, Drop It Like It's Hot. On day two, one of the more meaningful activities during Bowl Week will include a visit to a local children's hospital, where just a few moments of your shared time will brighten the lives of some of your biggest fans. That night, you'll take a very special trip to the Martin Luther King Jr. historical site, where you experience the origins of the civil rights movement and engage in conversation about teamwork, the student athlete's role in activism, and life after football. Now back at your hotel, you hit the court for our basketball challenge competition, where a smooth shooting stroke could win you the belt. The final event of the week includes the last two competitions in the battle for bowl week. You'll take a trip to Andretti's Indoor Karting and Games for a bowling competition and some full throttle go-karting where both teams will push it to the limit. And as we wrap up this week, we'll crown this year's Battle for Bowl Week champion. And we certainly won't leave out the hospitality. When you're not taking part in our planned bowl week activities, you can relax and hang out in the exclusive Players Hospitality Suite created just for you. And we didn't forget why you're really here. But before you head into Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you'll take part in one more Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl tradition. We're going to recreate your own campus team walkthrough with your fans, complete with a full-blown pep rally. Then it's down to business. You hit the field in an NFL stadium against a top 4 opponent in a national semifinal game with a trip to the national championship on the line.
All right, now we're gonna have Kirby Smart email. So take questions, and just like we always do, we have to go to the mic holders, so please raise your hand and answer your question.
Kirby, with the news yesterday about Mike Leach, when you look around at college football today, how much of an influence do you see from Coach Leach?
Yeah, his impact is wide and broad. You know, he traveled all over the country to coach. He went from the bottom right down at Valdosta State to all the way up to Washington State, you know, and coached all over the country. And, you know, his impact is really felt more in the high school level, I think, because we see what the vision that he had in terms of passing the ball, throwing the ball from his young years with Coach Mummy all the way through now. But what you don't see is the trickle-down effect that he's had where we go watch a high school team play and the elements of his offensive system are pervasive. I mean, it's like all over the place. And, you know, it changed the game from when years ago it was wishbone, triple option, and you couldn't watch a high school game without wing tee, veer option, triple option, wishbone, to now you actually see more air raid elements than you do those. And he had a large part to do with that, and a special man, and heartfelt, you know, feelings out going out to his family, his wife, and his kids.
Kirby, when will you guys start practicing for this game? And then when you do, Ladd and Warren McClendon, what will their statuses be?
We've been practicing, so I mean, we've not specifically for Ohio State. We've been practicing to maintain standing shape and making sure our guys are ready, sharp physically, and ready to do things. So we've kind of been practicing ongoing, and you know, I don't know when exactly we'll get those guys back. I don't know that. They're not practicing with us right now. They're conditioning, they're running, they're moving around, but they're not practicing just yet. But we're still, I guess, 16, 17 days out.
Yeah, in a similar vein, an update on Marvin Jones Jr. and Bill Norton. Is he practicing with the team, or once you go in the portal, you are no longer?
I don't think there's a set standard on that, so that's not really important. We're worried about the guys that are getting ready to play. Marvin Jones has been great. He's run, he's conditioned, he's been doing a ton of conditioning things with us on the side. Probably going to be able to start practicing with us here soon, if not today.
I know this time of year is always big for younger players getting practice. Has anybody really caught your eye in what they've been able to do through the practices to this point?
They all have. They do a great job working. It's great to put them at the forefront and let them get quality reps where they're not necessarily the scout team. They make up the 2s and the 3s and sometimes the 4s in some positions that get a lot of reps and a lot of growth. And you know, this is, at the end of the day, almost another set of spring practice. You know, we get 15 practices for a spring practice. We may not get that many in, but we get a lot of practices in once you include walkthroughs. So I've seen these guys have exponential growth and really become good players before spring even starts.
Kirby, after losing 15 guys to the NFL, at what point this year did you maybe realize that this team was capable of putting together a run like this? And can you just expound a little bit on your decision not to go into the transfer portal to get help? I think you guys were the only team in the FBS that didn't.
Well, we didn't make a decision not to go in. We called and recruited several guys that fit our criteria. Number one, need. Number two, culture. Number three, we knew something about them out of high school. They'd been on our campus, but we didn't get any of those guys. So it wasn't a philosophy. It was more of that's the way it played out. As far as this team, you know, I thought in the spring we were going to have a good team. We were a long way away defensively from where we needed to be during the spring, but I knew we had a good football team. I mean, I knew we had a good football team when the season ended last year because we have a core of good players.
You guys obviously have some good receivers. I'm curious what your impressions are of Marvin Harrison Jr. watching him, what kind of challenge he presents.
All those guys, really good receivers, not just him, across the board. Very talented, probably one of the most talented groups we've faced. When you combine it with the talent of the quarterback, it really grows because he has the ability to get the ball to him on all parts of the field, vertically, horizontally, side to side. Really good job. I mean, historically, Ohio State's had great wideouts. And that's that. When you go to play Ohio State, you know they're going to have really good wideouts. When you go across the NFL, they've produced a lot of really good wideouts, and that's no different than what they have on their roster right now.
Coach of Buster Faulkner taking the job at Georgia Tech. Will he still be at all involved in the program leading up to the bowl game? And if not, does Mike Bobo's position or job, whatever you want to call it, kind of get increased a little bit?
We're going to determine that probably at a later date. Still in conversation with Buster and Brent. It's not something that's pressing right now because he doesn't really get to do anything in practice. So we're practicing right now. He's a supplement to ideas with Coach Monken, and he can certainly still do that from the position he's in, and we'll determine that at a later date.
Yeah, Kirby, you talked a lot towards the beginning of this year of all those guys that might not have been huge contributors last year stepping up into bigger roles this year. What has it been like watching the growth from those guys like Pop and Zion, all those guys that have had to step up this year to get y'all to where you are now?
It's great. I mean, the maturation process, really, Zai was already very mature and a leader before this year. He's kind of earned it and done it. He's been around here a while. A lot of guys have stepped up to give us an opportunity to be where we are. A lot of coaches have done a fabulous job. You know, we took on 4 new coaches, had 13 or whatever it was guys leaving the portal, and we've had a lot of guys step up. We've had a freshman class who, a lot of them came in last year at this time, and they have been major contributors. I think we had the 3rd most or 4th most true freshman snaps. So we did a good job of onboarding our incoming freshmen to give us depth behind the guys we had on our team. So I think that's a big part of college football right now, how fast you can transition your team each year.
Kirby, what offenses have you faced that might have some of the elements that Ohio State has, and what lessons are there for you in maybe some past games?
I'm not sure who to relate them to. They're different probably than really anybody we've faced, maybe in years past, but I can't say they're exactly like anybody we've played this year.
Kirby, last week Stetson becomes the first Georgia player to be a finalist for Heisman in 30 years. Just as someone who's been around this program for a long time, and especially you being there to see what Stetson has gone through, just what did that accomplishment mean to you to see Stetson get a chance to go anywhere?
It's a great honor for his resiliency. I mean, to be named one of the 4 finalists, I don't know anybody could have written a script with what he's done in terms of start to finish with trials, tribulations, ups and downs, highs and lows. throughout his career. To have that be near the end of it is pretty special. You know, it's special for Georgia. It's special for our program, our university, and it's special for Stetson and his family because, you know, he earned it by the way he played on the field.
Kirby, you talked a lot over the years about accelerated schedules in terms of recruiting, and now we throw the portal on it, we throw NIL on it. Transfer policies have changed. My question is about retention of players. So maybe a scenario could be way off here. Like a guy like Noel Smith injured, maybe an NIL deal gets put together, or Cedric Van Tran. What can you offer? Can you offer these guys NIL money? Can you offer them insurance policies? And how quickly do you got to determine this, because you're looking in the portal for needs as well, right? So I guess I'm just kind of wondering about that process and what you can do to maybe make it worthwhile for a guy to come back to improve his draft stock.
Complicated question. I really don't know honestly how to answer it, and it's not like pressing need. I mean, we have a process that we follow, so our process is step by step. I mean, there's a day in the month of each calendar month that I go through and say, okay, it's time to do this. It's time to have this conversation. It's time to gather this information. It's time to educate our players on this in this process. And I think communication is the key on that. I mean, you referenced Nolan. I mean, I'm confused because Nolan's kind of done. You know, he's through playing. Now, if you're talking about this time last year, sure, we have conversations with every player that has eligibility remaining. And I think you're juggling a spreadsheet that we keep, that has what each guy's doing and where their eligibility is, and over here where each guy potentially that could come in, and you're trying to match, you know, inflow and outflow. It's essentially what you're trying to do. But NIL is a part of that, but NIL is not, you know, it may be dangled as a carrot at some places, but really it's about, do you want to be part of this team? Do you want to grow and get better? Do you want a chance to do what Devontae Wyatt did? Do you want a chance to do what Chris Smith did? Do you want to have a chance to do what Jordan Davis did? Do you want to have a chance to do what Quay Walker did? So, like, there's great opportunities to move from a late round draft pick with your grade to early round draft pick, and that's not really what I'm concerned with right now. I'm concerned with making sure our football team is developing at all stages and phases, because we have guys that are in the stage of, man, he's going to have to start next year. He really needs to get ready. And then there's the guy, the phases is offense, defense, special teams. You know, how are we improving? That's my focus. It's not on, really not on NIL, not on portal, not on those things, because the focus is on our team.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank
We're going to take a quick photo, and then